Freedom, freedom over fame. Freedom over cycle stays the same.
Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives, and I'm your host, Bruce Anthony. Thank you for listening and watching wherever you get your podcasts and video podcasts. Subscribe, share, like, comment, and rate us. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at unsolicited_perspectives. You can find us on Twitter and TikTok at unsolicited_PER. Watch us live. Now, watch us live every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and YouTube. Our audience continues to grow with each and every episode, and I humbly thank you.
On today's episode, it's the Sibling Happy Hour. I'm with my sis Jay. We're talking about Black history facts, Riri in the Super Bowl, and just shooting the breeze. First things first.
The cycle stays the same.
What up, sis?
What up, brother?
How you feeling today?
I am good. We are recording this a day late, but that's on me.
It's not a day late because it's still gonna go out today. We just recorded earlier. We just recorded the day before. We're recording it instead of the night. We're recording it in the morning, and I'll edit it and put it out. It's
Actually, I shouldn't have said nothing because I'm in the middle of my work day, and the last thing I want is my boss to be like, "Are you recording podcasts on company time?" So
you think your boss is really paying attention to you like that?
No, I don't think anybody I work. I've never mentioned that I do the podcast at work because I don't want them listening.
Okay.
I mean, I got some opinions on here.
Oh, yes.
Maybe.
Well, that's the reason why we do the after hours. Once again, here's a plug. Join our Patreon page for $5. And y'all better join quick because the price of the brick is going up, right? Like, you're not going to keep getting it for $5.
Yeah.
It's going to be basically to the end of this month, and we're in the month of February, where it's $5, where you could get the after hours, the Sibling After Hours show. It's uncensored. We be talking a lot of ish on there. And my personal show, Talking Straight Ish, uncensored. We do that twice a week. It's only on our Patreon page. It's exclusive to our Patreon page. You can't get it nowhere else. And you get the raw, real, and you missing out. Because even Dad was watching it. And he was like, y'all cuss a lot. Y'all funny, but y'all cuss a lot. And I was like, yeah, because we talking.
Mom called me.
Uh-huh.
Said, y'all have nasty mouths. So I said, well, shit. I said, well, shoot, don't listen. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, look, we give you the raw real. So
apples don't fall far from the tree.
Look, they fell right there at the tree. At the base, just looking up.
Nowhere.
Learn this from you.
Right. Fell right through them branches.
So that's where we really be going in on stuff. So I think that your job ain't
No. They're not gonna hear that part.
Well, I mean, let's get to it.
All right.
The Super Bowl.
I thought I could go my whole life without
time out. Your whole life?
Thinking about what happened on the 12th. You know, as y'all know, from the last episode, I made a prediction.
You sure enough did.
I've been an Eagles fan since I was 16 years old, and they didn't win. That episode did not age well.
No, it didn't.
And my prediction was wrong. You know, it was right until maybe the last 10 minutes of the game. And that's the crucial 10 minutes. Here's what I think. If you win a game letting the clock run out, I don't like that.
That's winning.
I know, but I don't like that. And you know what? If the Eagles had done it, I would have loved it. But since they didn't,
what are you talking about? There go Roni jiggling.
Jingling. You know what? if I let her out the room and I close the door, then you would hear her whining. So
You can always just take off her collar.
I keep forgetting to do that. Roni, come here, baby. Nope, she's not listening. That's okay. She doesn't listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, at all. I have literally had this dog for 3 years. She just turned 4 on Super Bowl Sunday. And
okay, tell the people the truth about Roni's birthday.
I don't know when it is.
Right. So
She's a rescue.
Instead of having it on the same day every year.
She was found on the side of the road on Super Bowl Sunday. Come here, because you're getting on my nerves, baby. I love you, but you're getting on my nerves. I love you so much. Give me this collar. You don't get to have that. She doesn't like being naked.
You sound and look so much like the young auntie right now.
Yes.
Look, if y'all watching the video, y'all.
I have fully embraced my auntie-hood. Fully. And I am in my auntie era, and I love it. All I do is listen to old school R&B and give all my nieces and nephews money via Cash App. That's all I do. I love it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I have zero complaints. I got chains on my glasses because
Yeah.
I need my glasses. I got a little auntie haircut.
Yes, you did.
Fully in my auntie era.
You got the haircut like, hey, auntie, you gonna be at the barbecue? Oh, baby, I'm not gonna be able to make it. I'm going on my cruise this year.
Baby, but you know what? Check your Cash App.
Yo, y'all have
That's
got all the people that's listening to the audio. You got to check us out on video because the expressions, the facial expressions that we use, me constantly talking with my hands, the stuff is funny. On top of the words, the visual is funny.
You don't just talk with your hands, though, Bruce. You flail.
I know.
Like,
I know.
you literally are just this. I wish y'all could see what I'm doing. So go to the YouTube and check it out.
Go to the YouTube.
He flails.
But it's always.
Why are they so high up?
Well, they're not high up. They're just on my face.
Bring
it's not like I'm raising them above my head.
Bring them down. Bring your hands down at least like shoulder height, chest level.
Well, no, because the armrests
here.
The armrests are right here on the chair. So like they propped up on the armrest. So, maybe I should get a chair that don't have armrests. I don't know. I'm still going to talk with my hands. That's just what I do.
Has armrests. They're just at a normal height.
Well,
why you're so high?
Because I'm sitting on the throne. I'm sitting on the throne because I'm going to label myself King James like LeBron did. By the way, I have a whole conversation about that on Talking Straight-ish. Once again, on our Patreon page. Y'all, look, I'm telling you, the price of the brick is going up. the price of the brick is going up. We sending out tons of content.
Yeah, what are y'all doing? Stop playing games.
So, unfortunately, your Philadelphia Eagles lost.
We lost. It's okay. And here's why I feel like it's okay. When I first started watching football, and we're from DC, so what games do we get? We obviously get, well, they're the Commanders
now. Yeah.
We get the Cowboys, we get the Giants, and we get the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like Washington.
No, nobody did.
I damn sure don't like the Cowboys.
No.
Half of our family are Giants fans.
Yep.
But it was something about the Eagles during the McNabb years.
Because you had a crush on McNabb, right?
I did not. Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
But it was the underdog status that they had that
they weren't underdogs.
That year they were.
Okay. All right.
And then our coach at the time, of course, was Andy Reid, who I adore and who is the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. So, you know what? I'm glad Andy got a ring. I'm not that. Ring number 2.
Yeah, ring number 2. Yeah.
But we got our ring. And then also
a few years ago, y'all got one. That's right.
Yeah, we beat the Patriots. And also, so now Jason Kelsey has a ring and his brother Travis has a ring. So that was nice. And their mother was absolutely adorable. in her half Chiefs, half Eagles jacket, which I kind of want that jacket. That jacket was fresh as hell.
I think
I don't know if you saw that jacket.
No, I didn't. I think they had that specially made for her. And I love the fact they love their mama and they love each other so much.
Yes.
So much.
When they both, I've seen the video when they both saw their mother and they just was like, Mama.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good game though. But I mean, hell, it was a good game.
It was a good game. And then also somebody else came out of retirement. Riri returned.
Riri was not retired.
No,
who are you talking about?
Riri was retired. She ain't done no music in 20 years.
She don't have to, number one.
No, not when you 1.4 billion. I just looked it up. Like Jay-Z is 1.3. She's at 1.4.
Yes. Savage by Fenty and Fenty Beauty. Sis is set. Okay. She don't have to do nothing and she don't owe nobody nothing.
And she damn sure performed. Like, I enjoyed it, but she was definitely performing like, hey, here, y'all go ahead and take this real fast, and this is all you get.
Well, listen, okay, I get, Beyonce will be pregnant and jumping around in heels and stuff, but that's Beyonce, and she's literally 1 in a million, and Rihanna is also 1 in a million, right. And I love that Rihanna is a different type of diva, and she's like, y'all gonna get what I give you type of diva. And I feel that in my spirit. Right. And I absolutely love it. I love the show. Some people said she was giving us reproductive justice. I think that was just her birth story. I mean, it was clear like she was in red and there was little white hooded people swarming all around her. You know what? I think it was just her announcing that she's pregnant again. That's what I think.
And then ASAP a blood, that could just be that he's a blood.
No. It was definitely sperm and her. Okay. At first she was up above there's a TikTok of a lady going through the different stages and then they swarmed around her and then the cape was on, and then it was a whole thing. But yeah, there was definitely a theme to it.
I didn't pick up on it. I was just looking at Riri.
Yeah, I mean, she was gorgeous.
Always has been.
She was gorgeous and pregnant and glowing, and she don't owe y'all a damn thing. And now that she's pregnant again, y'all not gonna get that album. Y'all not gonna get it. Like, you're just not gonna get it. No. She's not going to do it.
I don't think she needs to make any more music. She's made enough iconic music that she's good. She's got so many #1 hits. Yeah. Like, she's good. And am I a Rihanna fan? I mean, yeah, I guess I'm a Rihanna fan because I listen to her music. Yeah. I'm a Rihanna fan because I'm a Beyonce fan. And I don't know why the two always have to be compared. They don't need to be compared. They could live separately. They could be mutually exclusive. Yeah.
You're getting a different sound. You're getting a different vibe. They're very different. I don't even know why I compared them just now. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, because you do it.
Both performed pregnant.
And they both have a connection to Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Jay-Z is I know you're going to kill me for saying this. Jay-Z is the sun in which they orbit because he definitely put Riri on. And Beyonce has only grown bigger. Yeah, and Beyonce has only grown bigger through her association with Jay-Z.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
As a solo artist, she wasn't. You seem to forget after she left Destiny's Child, she was kind of floating. Remember, she was active for a while, and nobody even brings that up anymore. She was active for a while.
Well, that's because listen, and please don't get at me because I know how y'all are. Y'all like to tussle. But the truth is, she plays herself. She plays a beautiful singer in every film that she does.
Not in Austin Powers.
Yes. Golden, she was singing and she was beautiful.
She's always beautiful.
Gold is gold is gold. She was singing and she was a beautiful singer in that.
You want her to be Johnny Depp and hide her beauty? Johnny Depp is the only one that's always changing his face.
She only did that one movie. I can't remember the name of it, but it was with Idris Elba, and he had like a stalker or something that was in love with him and trying to take his place, and Beyonce played his wife, and she beat the hell out that girl at the end. And that was the only movie that I can remember. But Cadillac Records.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
All of that. I mean, what's the Dream Girls? All of that. I mean, she's playing a beautiful singer all the time. So it's
I'm
not
just
that.
saying her singing career wasn't really popping until her and Jay-Z got together, because Jay-Z at that time was a bigger star.
Yes, I would say yes, she did use him for clout initially, but the career that she's built.
That's all her. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. He kind of gave her a boost.
Yes, they did a couple collabs together in the beginning, and yeah, okay, I agree with that. And then Rihanna, I've been a fan since Some Ponder Replay. Okay, come Mr. DJ. I was like, oh, this is a little pop. Who is this?
But you know what I love about Rihanna? People, I guess, I don't think people really were true fans of Rihanna, the ones that are complaining about her performance, because there are also people that are complaining about her performance. Like, she didn't really do nothing. One, she was pregnant. And two, like, Rihanna really never really does anything. She always acts like, and it might not be an act, it might be weird, that she is completely unbothered. That's kind of her personality. So I was like,
she's also kind of a dick.
I said in my Talking Straight-ish show, she has RBF.
No, like, she really says some wild stuff on Twitter sometimes.
Oh, I don't follow her on Twitter, so I guess I don't know.
Yeah. No.
what she be saying?
Rihanna's kind of an internet bully sometimes.
I can see that.
She could be a dick. But you know, that's also part of her appeal. Is like, she doesn't care. She will clap back, and she does not care. And that's part of her appeal.
I bet people that know her be like, yo, she's the sweetest person in the world. Yeah,
probably.
But I
have that. I mean, I have that syndrome of like, I'm nice to the people that I care about, but if I don't care about you, I mean, I really don't care. You will be talking, and halfway through what you're saying, I'm walking off.
Wait a minute. I ain't never seen you do that to people.
Right, because I care about you.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about with other people. Like, I've been around you and other people, and like, we worked together for years. So I never saw you treat nobody like that.
Yeah. Go back and ask the people at Hard Rock how my attitude was. No, it was very much of, I'm sitting these people and please get the hell up out my face. I don't know how many people I told to get the hell up out my host stand. And like, I don't know what you're talking about. There was one guy we worked with. Initially, you felt threatened by him because he was a new, attractive black guy.
Oh, you always love telling this story.
Yes,
and I never felt threatened by him.
You did. You said something about it.
What'd I say about it?
When he first got there, you was like, I don't like this. You said something, but it was just very.
I did that.
Green eyes. That was the only thing. That was really the only difference. Both of y'all was tall, black men, good looking, but he had green eyes, and that was the difference. But talking to him was like watching paint dry. So I literally would just ignore this man because I didn't want to get trapped in a conversation with him. And he was like, why you never talk to me? I said, because you're boring, and I walked away. So I'm very protective of my time. Don't waste my time.
Oh my goodness. All right, we getting sidetracked. Let's go back to Riri. Yes. I enjoyed the performance. I was happy about the performance. I don't understand. I think some people just want to complain just to complain. Because
they were going to complain regardless.
Yeah, they were going to play. Because everybody says that the Superbowl became too woke. That's another subject that we're going to talk about that in the after hour show. We ain't going to talk about it right here. Because I got some things. I already said it on my Talking Ish. Yeah, I said some stuff on my Talking Ish show, but I got more to say. So once again, join our Patreon page. Because I keep telling y'all the price of the brick. And if you don't understand what I say when I say the price of the brick, the brick, that's a drug dealing term. Not to say we drug dealers. We ain't drug dealers, but it's a drug dealing terms. And the brick is that kilo of cocaine. Don't think about it. And that brick is that kilo of the cocaine. And the price of the brick is going up, meaning the price of the membership is going to go up because it's too much content that we giving out at this price, but I wanted to give it at this price because day ones, people that's been sticking with us. This is our 21st, or this is the 21st Unsolicited Perspectives show.
That's nice. It can drink now.
Well, actually, it's the 22nd, but that first one. You know what? I'm gonna re-edit that first one and put it on the Patreon page. That's what I'm gonna do.
No one did you keep talking about the sound being bad and everybody's what's that show?
Look, I can finally fix the sound. So I just need to find that file. It's on the other computer. I just need to find that file and go ahead and do that.
Put it out there.
Yeah, put it out there. But yeah, we'll talk about that other stuff about the people criticizing the Super Bowl being too woke on the After Hours episode. Because hey Jay, I got some things to say. But any final thoughts on Riri?
Yeah, I mean, for the people who are like, she didn't do much. First of all, Rihanna is not a dancer.
Never has been.
Never has been.
She does gyrations that makes the crowd pop.
Yes. Her songs are bops you can dance to, but she herself is not a dancer. And my thing is, you wouldn't expect if like Adele was doing the Super Bowl that she would be out there pop, lock, and dropping. Like, you wouldn't expect it. So I don't know. Again, I think it's people conflating her with performers like Beyonce. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, she's different. She's a different vibe. It's going to be a different performance. I think anybody who has seen her perform will be like, oh yeah, this whole show makes sense. If you think about how Rihanna is, plus she's pregnant.
Right.
Plus she don't really give a damn about none of y'all.
Not a single one.
Yeah, you got the show you got. It was high concept and it was cool. Them platforms, like just the choreography of the platforms going up and down. That thing, it was cool.
It was dangerous too.
No, they were all harnessed in.
I don't care.
I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it.
I wouldn't have done it. And I'm going to tell you something. Half the people, 88% of the people who was talking cash-ish about that show wouldn't have got on them damn platforms either.
Mm-mm. No. I don't know if you could pay me enough to go up and down like that.
But Rihanna got her pregnant behind up on them platforms for y'all, and y'all got the nerve, the gall.
Don't even get paid for it. Doing it for the culture. Doing it for the
love of you. For the love for you. And you got the gall, the audacity. Where do you get off? We love you, Rihanna.
Love you, Riri. All right, sis, keeping up with our Black History theme, we're going to talk about Audre Lorde. Now, I know you know about Audre Lorde. I know a little bit about Audre Lorde. I wonder if the people know about Audre Lorde. And if you don't know about Audre Lorde, we're going to give you some of the facts. So just a little bit about her. She was born in 1934. She lived until 1992. She was born in Harlem, USA.
Harlem, baby.
Right after the Harlem Renaissance. She didn't really grow up. I mean, she kind of grew up during the Harlem Renaissance, but not really. She was born to Caribbean immigrant parents. She was a Black feminist, poet, civil rights activist, and she was known for her contributions in the feminist movement and her writing on race, gender, sexuality, and social justice. She didn't coin the phrase that is actually on one of our podcasts that I used it. I know you hate the word misspeak, but I misspoke and said it was intersexuality. What did I call it?
I think you did.
Yeah, I said it was intersexuality, but it's intersectionality, not sexuality. She attended Hunter College. She later earned a master's degree in library science at Columbia University, right? And she started publishing poetry in the 1960s. She did a lot of stuff as far as arguing about the women's movement and making sure that it was all inclusive. In other words, the feminist movement, you've talked about this often, and you can get into more in depth about how the feminist movement is divided into sections, right? It's people of color, and then there are white women. They're fighting for the same things, but not in the same way and not together. And she was expressing all this all the way back in the 60s. It was like, yo, we all fighting for the same things. Don't piece us out because you don't want to include us. We all need to be included in this fight. So she's a pioneer as far as what she was fighting for. And she was the first one, because she was a lesbian. She was the first one fighting for the LGBTQ community, specifically the Q community and trans, because they've been marginalized since the beginning, like since the beginning of the beginning. Like, and here we are. She's talking about day one, and not day one membership on our Patreon page, like day one.
Oh my God. Even I'm getting tired of that now.
But she was talking about this in the 60s, and it's funny, the things that she was talking about fighting for are still things that we're talking about and fighting for now. And I know you really love a lot of her works. Do you have the Sister Outsider or the Cancer Journals?
I do have a copy of Sister Outsider. Yes.
What is that about? Can you tell the people what that is about and what she was trying to convey in some of her books?
Yeah. So Sister Outsider is actually a collection of some of her essays and as well as some of her speeches. And there is different things that she talks about in there, but it's mostly centered around the need for highlighting the voices of marginalized groups, especially within feminism. One of her most famous essays, "The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House."
Yes.
That talks about making sure that racist theory is included in feminist theory, and that the erasure of race within feminism is not really serving anybody, and that we can't use the same white supremacist tools to combat feminism because it leaves a large section of women out. So,
that's an interesting concept. And me being the historian, as you like to put, no, I'm not a history major, I'm a historian.
Yes.
The reason why the Civil Rights Act was passed before the Voting Rights Act is because LBJ realized that he had to piecemeal. All right, back to what I was saying about LBJ, because you had some technical difficulties. You tried to blame it on my internet, but it was yours.
It was me. I take that. All right.
All right. So basically, what I was saying about LBJ was, it's funny when you look at Audre Lorde and expressing how you can't take the racial element out of the feminist movement, and LBJ had to break up the Civil Rights and the Voting Rights Act because he knew as a complete package it wouldn't be passed. It would not be passed. So what he did was he passed the Civil Rights Act first. He piecemealed it and then did the Voting Rights Act. And Black activists at the time were like, no, you need to do both of them at the same time. And he was saying, look, these Dixiecrats is not going to go for that. Right. I got to give them a little bit, then wait a little bit longer, and then get the other one passed. I can get them both passed, but you got to be patient. And then when I was saying, it was like, I wonder, subconsciously or not, if some of the white feminists who were taking race out of it were doing kind of the same thing. Hey, we're going to get ours first, and then we're going to bring you along.
No.
I don't, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that was the case.
Because the suffrage movement for the women's right to vote was extremely racist. And that's why you have Sojourner Truth with her famous speech, "Ain't I a woman?" Because they are being left out. Because poor women, Black women, queer women, of course, that wasn't in the time of Sojourner Truth. That wasn't, we wouldn't talk about that. But Audre Lorde we're being left out of the conversation. But this is a common thing that happens to Black women when we talk about feminism, that we're talking about white women. When we talk about racial justice, we're talking about Black men. So when we talk about LGBTQ, we're again talking about white gays. So it's a common thing of Black women and femmes being left out of the conversation. So
yeah.
But I'll read a short quote from The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House. Audre Lorde writes, "Those of us who stand outside the circle of society's definition of acceptable women, those of us who have been forged in the crucibles of difference, those of us who are poor, who are lesbian, who are Black, who are older, know that survival is not an academic skill. It is learning how to take our differences and make them strengths. For the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. They may allow us to temporarily beat him at his own game, but they will never enable us to bring about genuine change. It is this fact, and this fact is only threatening to those women who define the master's house as their only source of support." Which you had a friend talk to you, a white woman that's a friend of yours, who said, what did she say? Something about
You're gonna make me bring out the quote again. Hold on.
You got it. Oh, you got it on deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's in my text messages, so it doesn't take that long to find it. But I need you to kill some time as I try to find it. So keep on going.
Well, anyway, we were talking about this as we were talking about the show topics, and that the work of women like Audre Lorde and Kimberly Crenshaw, who actually was the person who coined the phrase intersectionality in the 80s, and the work of women like Bell Hooks are what led to third wave feminism. You have first and second wave feminism that really didn't incorporate intersectionality and these other ways of being different that act on people at the same time. It was really, you have books like, and I remember being in a women's studies class and we read this book. It was The Feminine Mystique. And I was in this women's studies class and it was all white women and me. And we read The Feminine Mystique. And The Feminine Mystique is a collection of interviews of basically middle and upper class white women, college educated, who were experiencing this kind of malaise because they were relegated to the home. They were relegated to being housewives. This is the 40s and 50s, I believe. So they could only be secretaries, teachers, or housewives. And most of them, when you get to a certain economic status, you're a housewife. Right. And they're like, we went to college and we did all these things and all we get to be is housewives and we're all depressed. And we did a little round table and everybody talked about it and it got to me. And I said, this is the dumbest thing I've ever read in my entire life. I said, because Black women have always been outside of the home. Always. Since we landed on these shores, Black women have always worked outside of the home for other people. And this doesn't take into account poor people who have to work. This doesn't take into account uneducated people. This is the most biased piece of literature I have ever read.
What was your response to that?
The professor was like, exactly. Next, we're talking about intersectionality. So I was the only one in there. They were like, yeah, my grandma used to have the same issue. I was like, yeah, not mine. She always worked.
Right. So I found a quote.
Okay.
My friend said, white women will always protect white male supremacy because they still benefit from the closeness to the power of the husbands, brothers, and dads.
Exactly. So because you are still operating within that white supremacist framework, even while you're trying to separate yourself from sexism, right, that you're facing, you're still using the tools of a white supremacist framework, which is excluding and erasing the voices of other women. And it's not just Black women, it's all women of color, it's all women of different economic status, older women, young women, it's the differently abled. It's queer women. It's all of that.
Well,
that
Audre
you are
Lorde,
dismissing.
right? Well, Audre Lorde, that was some of her major points. Like she made it a real point of emphasis
Mm-hmm.
of arguing the importance and embracing and celebrating diversity rather than trying to erase it and make everybody the same. And it is that conflict, that
Mm-hmm.
American conflict, where people come here and they're taught to assimilate
Right.
to succeed. But when you assimilate, maybe you succeed, but you lose a sense of yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
that's whatever, everything about America is borrowed, right? There's nothing that's truly our own. And
Right.
it is because people have come here and have shared their diversity. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we'll bastardize it, right? Like Italian food is not, the American Italian food is not Italian food. Like
Not even close.
Mexican food, like I say to somebody, yeah, we're gonna celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Where you gonna go? Taco Bell? No, that's not celebrating it. So
Literally a white man with no Mexican heritage. He wanted to come up with a different way to do the hamburger. And so he did the taco. And that's all Taco Bell is. It's nothing, no Mexican connection at all. No.
okay, that didn't know that.
Yes.
So her work is so vital and
Yes.
important and should be celebrated more so than it is now, because I think a lot of people really don't know who she was and
Mhm.
didn't understand how much of a trailblazer for the things that she was talking about 60 years ago,
Yeah.
almost 65 years ago, right? 60 years ago, and how vital and important that fight continues on today, which is incredible, that still fighting for literally the same things. What is important that people like her aren't forgotten. And it's also important to understand her awards. She won awards. She won an American Book Award.
Mhm.
She had a fellowship from the National Endowment of Arts. She had the Audre Lorde Project after she passed away. It's a community organization center for the LGBTQ community and people of color. It was founded in her honor in New York City. Like, to say that she isn't honored isn't completely the truth, but she isn't celebrated as much as she should be. And we shouldn't solely celebrate her just in Black History Month, but also because it's Black History Month, we're going to give y'all a little bit of game and tell you who and what she is and what she about.
I think that's fantastic.
You say that's it for the day, right? That's what we gave him the raw reel, and that's it.
Well, I had somebody, I'm actually currently reading a book about her.
Okay.
I'm reading their autobiography. And it is okay. So I'm trying to think of how best to introduce a person who is extremely vital to civil rights, law, a lot of the Supreme Court cases that gave Black people the rights that they have today. Their name is Pauli Murray. Pauli was a lawyer and a gender equity advocate. I had never heard of Pauli Murray. I don't even remember how I came across Pauli Murray. But I don't remember how I came across Pauli Murray, but I bought her autobiography it is her autobiography immediately, because I had to know who this person was. Her work in law and theory is the groundwork that people like Thurgood Marshall used in a lot of landmark cases, including, I think I heard about her due to Roe v. Wade, because her work, her theory at the time. Now, remember, this is a person. Well,
what time frame are we talking about?
We are talking about, she was born in 1910. So we're talking about somebody who was active during the 30s and 40s.
Okay.
And so Pauli Murray is queer. Damn. struggling. They were, I want to say non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
They would be an appropriate use of, I think they would be the appropriate pronoun.
They, them.
They, them. Well, was non-binary. They were, did their postgraduate work at Harvard, law school at Howard. So they went to both HUs. Received her doctorate in juridical science from Yale. Incredibly brilliant, and was really working on racial equity and women's rights, civil rights, writing a lot of legal theory at a time where people like them were completely dismissed.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about the 30s and 40s.
The 30s, yes.
I mean, Audre Lorde didn't really start writing about that stuff until the 60s. So
yes.
She wasn't writing about that in the 30s and 40s. So this predates Audre Lorde.
Co-founder of the National Organization for Women, appointed by President John F. Kennedy to serve in the Presidential Commission on the Status of Women. Ruth Bader Ginsburg named her as the co-author of an ACLU brief on the landmark Supreme Court case Reed v. Reed, which says that administrators of estates cannot discriminate between sexes. So a lot of her theory is what all of these people used in these landmark Supreme Court cases at a time where they were being completely dismissed and laughed at for these theories.
So they would be considered the
grandparent of all of a lot of civil rights and feminist legal cases that were won. They are the grandparent of that.
They are the Big Bang of LGBTQ rights.
Yes.
Now how I wrap that all together. I'm smart too.
Yes.
I got some things to say. No, wow, I did not. And this person's name again is what?
Pauli Murray.
Pauli Murray. Hey, y'all, look up Pauli Murray. I had no idea about this. You know, maybe Unsolicited Perspectives, when we start getting into production of television and movie, we do a movie about them, because I feel like this person needs to be celebrated more than, not more, but needs to be celebrated, because I had no idea who this person is. Yeah. There's always somebody in the background that's doing all the work.
It's always a queer Black woman. I'm going to be honest with you. That's what it is. It's always that. I mean, worked alongside Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks.
I would love to understand the dynamic of that, because we could say it in the Black community for generations, and even still today, the LGBTQ community is kind of shunned, even though
most of these activists and most of these movements for civil rights are led by Black Lives Matter was started by 3 queer Black women. Most of these things are started, and the people who are on the front lines are Black women and femmes. And because we understand, and actually Pauli Murray coined a phrase, Jane Crow, along with Jim Crow, talking about the ways in which segregation and these laws negatively affect Black women in particular. We understand that because we are at the bottom, if we get liberated, everyone else above us will as well.
But my point is that you had them working with Martin Luther King and in the Black community, for generations, Black communities shunned away from the LGBTQ community, even though LGBTQ community has always been in the Black church, right? Like, but by and large, there's a certain generation of Black folks that are just using religion as, it's wrong. God says it's wrong. And for Martin Luther King to be a pastor working with them,
a clearly non-binary person,
and it doesn't get discussed. Maybe if it was more publicized, but we as the Black community, I'm saying we as the Black community, I ain't saying me personally, I'm saying we as the Black community might look differently upon the LGBTQ community if we had known, if it's taught and even in our history courses. You went to Howard University. I took an African-American history course at the University of Maryland. I didn't even know how big the LGBTQ community was in the civil rights movement. More specifically, the Black LGBTQ community was. Had we known this information, maybe the Black community by and large would be more accepting of the LGBTQ community, but it's kind of been
swept under the rug.
Yes.
We know, but we don't know. We knew that James Baldwin was gay. We knew Langston Hughes was gay. Moms Mabley also.
We don't talk about that though.
Non-binary.
We don't. Even when people talk about James Baldwin now, who had a resurgence, for some strange reason, he had a resurgence during the pandemic. People were like, have you decided?
There was a documentary.
I thought the documentary was before the pandemic. I thought it came out before the pandemic.
Yeah, but people were home and they were watching stuff and they got to documentaries and they all saw I'm Not Your Negro. I saw it in theaters.
I ain't see it in theaters.
They waited until they were home.
Then all of a sudden it was clips on Instagram and on Twitter and they was like, who is this person? I'm like, you just now found out this person? But even then,
entire collection.
I bet you do.
Well, I didn't have actually. It is grandma's collection. Mom inherited it and then I got them, but they're the entire collection of his books.
I didn't know that was grandma's collection. But even still, when people talk about him during his resurgence, so to speak, during the pandemic, nobody brings up the fact that he was gay.
No.
It's like that. And I would think, well, does the LGBTQ community like say, he was gay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it didn't reach me. But I knew that, but it's not, it feels like it's not reaching the masses. It feels like there's people in the Black community that praise certain groups, that praise certain civil rights leaders, but at the same time, talk down upon the LGBTQ community, but they're praising somebody in the LGBTQ community and just not acknowledging it. And I think that's a problem, but that's neither here nor there. And oh, by the way, we'll talk about white supremacy, but we'll talk about our own ish too. This is not a one-sided thing with us on Unsolicited Perspective. We talk about the raw real, no matter what side of the coin you are. We talk about white supremacy, and we'll talk about the fact that, hey, our own people be effed up too.
But I mean, people in the know in law at that time, specifically women dealing with sexism in trying to forward legal protections against sexism, like RBG, right? People working for race advocacy, like Thurgood Marshall. These people knew her. They were in the know, but the general public is not in the know.
And I'm saying the general public needs to be in the know. These things need to be brought to light. Because
the reason why she was often dismissed in her time, obviously not later, but in her time, is because, like, for example, in terms of segregation laws, she argued their unconstitutionality directly. She didn't do the whole, well, as long as it's separate but equal. She used psychology and sociology as well as legal theory to dispute its constitutionality completely. That segregation was in itself unconstitutional. And her, of course, she's dismissed. Now, it's separate but equals fine, right?
Right.
But Thurgood Marshall used that theory for his arguments in Brown versus the Board of Education. So like I said, at the time, people in the know knew her as an influential person, but anyone outside of that, she argued that the 14th Amendment forbade sexual discrimination as well as racial discrimination. The 14th Amendment being, what is the 14th Amendment?
Don't be bringing up stuff if you ain't got the receipts. You don't know what the 14th Amendment is?
What do you know?
No, I don't know.
I feel like there was a documentary on the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, I don't know. Eyes on the Prize probably taught us.
Yeah. It's the equal protection under the law clause. That's it. But she argued in that John F. Kennedy Commission that the 14th Amendment also forbade sexual discrimination and racial discrimination. Which people, I don't know that they hadn't considered, but to write it down in a presidential commission on the status of women, I think at the time the 14th Amendment was specifically targeted towards racial discrimination, but she was like, don't forget about women.
Right.
Don't forget about us.
So basically, you come to this podcast to learn, and we're going to teach you some things. Yes.
So if you get an opportunity, I am reading Song in a Weary Throat. Actually, it was reissued as Pauli Murray, the autobiography of a Black activist, feminist, lawyer, priest, and poet. It is an incredible read. It goes through her entire life. It's her autobiography. She wrote it herself. And it's a great read. It's an easy read, too.
So people out there, when people approach and they say they want to learn and they don't know where to go to read, those are some suggestions right there. We've given you
Outsider and the autobiography of Pauli Murray.
There
Learn
you go.
Something, people.
There you go. And sis, on that note, it's Black History Month. So go ahead and do your sign off for Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month, y'all.
And I'm a holla.
Thank you for listening to Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, and donate. Donations help us keep giving you this free content each and every week. Until next time, I'll be 5,000.
Freedom over fame. Freedom over fame. The cycle stays the same. Freedom over fame. Freedom